Hello, ladies and gents, and welcome back to another edition of Team Talk. This time coming out of round 20, and what's that? Only 4 weeks to go before the end of the AFL home and away season, but also the end of the SuperCoach year as we know it. It's fast approaching, but I think there's some people out there that will probably be thankful that the season's coming to an end. And there will be others that will be still in the running for, I guess, their cash leagues and, I guess aiming for the overall prize. That's what we kind of play the game for. And those that are aiming for sort of personal high achievements in their own SuperCoach I guess, history milestone across the journey. And I am pretty much in that camp at the moment. I'm still there, still getting into it. But, of course, Liam and I will still continue delivering your content that you require and I guess crave, and that's probably part of the reason why you're tuning in. So thank you as always for tuning in. Before I go into, it's this side, my rundown of the week that was, or weekend that was coming out of round 20, I just want to alert and thank also those people that have got behind us over the past week especially, but across the entire year to date, because we've now hit you'll see beneath there, the 930 subscriber mark, which we'd just passed the 900 subscriber mark during the week, heading into round 20. And called on the community on Twitter mainly to get behind us if they could, to help us get to the ever elusive at this stage 1K subscriber mark. And there was 30 people, as you can see there, extra that got behind us, so really, really thankful of that. But also likewise those people in the content creation community, those people that provide data, stats, everything to help the community on Twitter that got behind us as well through retweets. Really do appreciate that. The likes of Abs Magic, of course, the Skodfather, SuperCoach Bull, Pig Mentality, and so on and so forth. Emper, a few of our supporters as well. Apologies if I've forgotten anyone in particular. But SuperCoach Masters as well. I can't forget those rowdy blokes over at SuperCoach Masters. And the like. So really do appreciate every single one of you. Centre Bounce crew as well that always support us, and really do appreciate it. So having said that, we're still 70 subscribers away from the 1K subscriber mark. So we've got 4 weeks to do it, which averages out to be, 70 divided by 4? 17.5 subscribers a week from here on out. So if you can get behind us as you see this and as you're watching this video, if you're not subscribing, that would be absolutely fantastic, because I'll show you here in the past 7 days alone, these are the number or the percentage of people that consume our content that are subscribed. So that's 42.1%. So absolute legends there. But then we also have 57.9% remaining which aren't subscribed yet. So if we can convert at least 7, to 10% of those people to get behind us, not even that, really. We need, 1%, if that, to really get behind us. We'll say 5% anyway. My head isn't working at the moment, but if those people there, that if you're watching this video at the moment and you haven't subscribed, if you can just click that subscribe button beneath the video, that would be absolutely fantastic. So with that, let's get into how my week fared coming out of round 20, and you can see there I ended up scoring a 2,520, so not quite as good as the previous week when I smashed 28, whatever it was, which was absolutely insane. So obviously not going to keep up with that output, unfortunately. But it did actually see me, because it was a score that was below par and ended up dropping some of the rank that I gained last week to the tune of 219 ranking spots to now sit 711. Good call, as they say, but in this case it was a bad call, because I would much prefer to have kept that ranking inside the top 500. So again, got to make up ground going into the remaining 4 weeks, and hopefully my aim is to finish in the top 500. So let's have a look at how the team fared across the park, and there was a little bit of toing and froing. First off, heading into the weekend with regards to the VC and C options. Being out of trades, as you can see there, the name of the game here that you can really utilize and I guess use to your advantage is the fact that it's sort of dictated by the VC and the C from week to week from here on out. I had a look in the back end of SuperCoach Plus and saw a lot of people putting the VC on Daics. I was obviously very keen on Sicily, given his historical scoring in recent weeks, but also the fact that he'd scored 172 or thereabouts against the Saints last time he played them. So I was pretty keen on putting the C on him. And I kind of hedged my bets by putting the VC on Daics, considering he was the most VC'd player by those coaches, also ranked in the top 1%. So hedged my bets there. He didn't get the job done. Outside of him, I was keen on either Bont or English, and I would have been leaning more towards English. And I'm now kicking myself that I didn't go down that path, and instead I got kind of too carried away with trying to hedge my bets, which I shouldn't have done. I should have backed myself in, and English has been scoring like an absolute madman all year virtually. Like he's averaging 129.8. So yeah, just silly by me. Albeit I did think Briggs was going to kind of match him for quality in the ruck, maybe around the ground. English would have sort of beaten him up, but similar sort of output to what he scored against Phillips the week prior. Against Essendon, so I was thinking maybe a 130. I was no way thinking that he was going to score a 160. I thought Sicily might have scored sort of at minimum a 120 to 130. Wasn't to be, unfortunately, but I'm thankful at least that there wasn't that much damage with regards to that, because a lot of people, the most captain player, especially in the top 1%, was Bont. So it actually worked out a 1 point advantage in my favour if you look at it from that perspective. But I did obviously lose out on 61 extra points there if I put the VC on English instead of Nick Daics, because I would have obviously locked that in my, benchmark, because my expectations of Sicily were so high. My benchmark for English would have been around about 140 to 150, so I would have automatically locked in that score. So annoyed at myself there, but it is what it is. Just goes to show that you've got to back yourself when you can, and just operate with your hunches. But try to be a little bit too cute there. But yeah, as I said, it could have been worse. So thanking my lucky stars there. So let's go through the rest of the team. Tom Stewart, 101. He was another, popular VC option. I didn't really see the reasoning why. The only other thing was maybe it was just because it was at GMHBA coming up against Freo, which they haven't been performing too well. Credit to Freo for getting the upset win, but I didn't think there was really a matchup exploitation there with Stewart, which I got into last week when I went through my team talk heading into the weekend. And I'll show you here as to the reasoning why. And it is the defense V position, and they weren't giving up historically too many points to opposition defenders. They were actually giving up the least to general defenders. So yeah, it didn't really make much sense there from a matchup standpoint. There was no matchup exploitation you could use. So yeah, I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I always operate by the data and the stats, and that dictated me elsewhere. But like I said, I didn't do too much better with with Sicily. Wish it was English. So Sicily 102 really annoys me because Ross Lyon hadn't adjusted his forward setup at all, let alone his forward entries, and they were just virtually kicking long as opposed to kicking shorter and allowing Sicily to drop into open space. It meant Sicily was kind of clamped down on. He was caught in packs. So yeah, it really pisses me off that Ross Lyon, for the first time pretty much all year, had adjusted his forward setup. So again, makes no sense. Every single other team beat up St Kilda with the way that they set up with their forward entries and whatnot. And even when the ball wasn't in St Kilda's hands, they were still providing a bit of a zone, defence. They were pushing up into Hawthorn's forward line like they normally do. But even then, it was more so their setup when they had the ball and when they were kicking inside 50, which really, really annoys me. So Ross the boss, you're on notice. Let's move on to Jordan Dawson, 119. Not too bad. Par for the course with him. Jack Sinclair, to his credit, he was clamped down by McGuinness, actually ended up shaking some of that tag to score a 113, so pretty impressive by him considering that. Harry Sheasel going from strength to strength again, hit another ton with a 114. off the back of a 126 and a 103. So he has started to really reclaim that nice form when he was punching out tons week after week like he was earlier in the season. Chincotta, 68, not too bad as the emergency cover there if need be. Moving into the midfield, Bontempelli, 101. As I said, he was a popular VC option or captaincy option. Didn't do the job. He actually started like a house on fire and pitted out really. Rory Laird, 129, to his credit, came back from that AC joint injury and punched out a 129, and he would have made quite a few owners happy that rolled the dice on him with the VC or the C. Petrarca, 141, again, I spoke of him as kind of my backup C option if I was going to put the VC on Sicily, which I would have ideally loved to have done, but I didn't have another non-playing player that I could have used to put on field in order to claim Sicily's score if he did go bananas. So I didn't go down that route. But if I did have that option, I would have obviously used it and then put the C on Petrarca. But as I said last week, I was kind of a little bit worried that even though he's scoring 120 plus, he wasn't kicking goals, and I think he scored, what was it, 1 goal 3 potentially. 1 goal 3 against the Tigs on the weekend. So yeah, wasn't to be there. Zachary Merritt turned around his poor run of form with a 139, so super impressive there by him. Lockie Neal, 87. He was actually tagged by Took Miller at stages, so down on form there, and kind of reminiscent of last year. I think he ended up getting tagged late in the year. It happens almost every year, like they end up tagging Neil late in the season and then his form drops off. So hopefully that doesn't continue. So yeah, we'll see what happens there, but fingers crossed, especially heading into, of course, the first week of SuperCoach finals this week. Sam Doherty, 93. DFS Australia don't have the CBAs updated from round 20 as yet. So that remains to be seen as to what that looked like in terms of how many CBAs he was getting. I did predict that with the return of Chera and Cripps that his CBAs would have been down, but Chera, of course, got injured. I think it was around about, might have been approaching halftime potentially, so his CBAs might have had an uptick off the back of that. Callum Mills, a super down game, a 50. Would have loved to have seen how he matched up. I think he, from what I saw anyway, with pieces of that Swans Essendon game, is he actually played a bit in defence, which isn't ideal, so would like to see how many CBAs he actually got, but not ideal, and not good with Walsh being injured on the bench there. Meant that I had to play him, obviously. Georgie Hewitt had a down game again. I'd like to see how many CBAs he got on the weekend. Off the back of a 127, played pretty much full game time for a 58 is pretty putrid, really, to put it bluntly. So hopefully he can turn that around this weekend against St Kilda. Which again, they haven't updated the DVP stats here. But St Kilda, they give up a few points to inside mids. So hopefully he can turn around that form, especially considering I need to rest Walsh on the bench for another week or two. Matty Johnson didn't play, of course. I don't know why it said he's expected to be available for BCT, TBA. I think that's a stuff up there. I think he was just rested more than anything or managed. Nothing I've seen with regards to an injury. Into the ruck, as I said, Tim English, 163. His run of form is absolutely insane. Since round 12, he's done a 156, 99, 133, 127, 130, 173, 134, and 163. So absolutely crazy form line. And he faces Richmond, who I think they're still going to persist with Soldo. Maybe, I don't know if Nank comes back this week or if he's out for another week. But either way, he should score quite well, you'd think. Past 3 against the Tigs, a 50, 96, and a 145, which was back in round 4 this year. So keen, again, to, learn my lesson and maybe put the VC on English, especially in the game that's first up to open round 21. Roll Marshall, 113, not too bad for him. Kind of par for the course in terms of his average. So, yeah, not too bad there. Josh Dunkley, 133. He was kind of an option as well as a VC or C. 133, you can't go too wrong with that. Errol Goulden, again, returned to form, 152. And as we've always said, when he said on the podcast, every single time he has a down game, he picks it up with a absolutely bananas game. As you can see there, with round 13 against St Kilda, he scored a 62, and then the next week he'd come out and score a 111. And then also to his credit, round 6 against the Cats, scored a 47, and then the next week came out and scored a 119. And it looks as though he goes on a run of games as well where he actually scores quite well. So hopefully that is an indication that he's actually going to score quite well for the next week or two, especially, as I said, considering it is Supercoach finals. Connor Rosie, 104. Again, par for the course for him. He does lack a ceiling this season, but he's punching out consistent tons, so can't be too displeased with that. Cogs, 122. Above his average. So, yeah, happy with that, absolutely. Timmy Taranto, he's had a drop in form starkly now. 75 against the D's, off the back of a 91 against the Hawks, 117, which should have been more against West Coast, and 84 against Sydney, and a 72 against Brisbane. So his run of form over the past 5 weeks, bar that game against West Coast, has been pretty ordinary. So, yeah, not the best, but again, everyone has him. So whatever he scores, who cares? It affects you and everyone else as well. Darcy Cameron, 127 again, another nice game from him off the back of a 135 the week prior. So his ownership actually took a dip by around about 2%, 3% thereabouts when he was traded out when he missed round 18. So yeah, bonus for those of us that kept him, of course. Seamus Mitchell, he was subbed out really strangely in the second quarter, and it looked as though Sam Mitchell did it to Seamus just purely out of frustration because he brought on Blank, who's another defender, so it didn't really make much sense to me. Maybe he wasn't playing the game plan that was being taught to Hawthorn during the week, I don't know, but yeah, it didn't look as though he had any injury. It was just a tactical sub, if you want to call it that. Ryan Marrick, 54, pretty much bang on his average. But yeah, good to see he's still getting games if you do need to call upon him. And that's about it. That's kind of how he fared coming out of the weekend. Again, as I said, I've got 0 trades, so the name of the game from here on out is trying to get the edge, Supercoach edge, in fact, when it comes to how you choose your VC and C for the week, and was hoping to get a little bit of a leg up by putting the C on Sicily on the weekend, and that was kind of why I was so keen to do it, apart from the fact that he had good scoring in recent weeks, but also that awesome score previously against St Kilda. So I'm trying to sort of play the numbers here, and it was kind of too cute, again, as I said, with Nick Daics, but yeah, I didn't bargain on Sicily scoring as crap as what he did, and I wasn't bargaining on Ross the Boss being an absolute prick and changing up for the first time pretty much all year his forward setup. So it wasn't conducive to scoring for Sicily. So from here on out, I think, yeah, as I said, the structure and setup, I think, is probably going to stay the same. There's not much I can really do. Walsh is really on the bench there. Hopefully MJ can come back, and maybe where are Freo playing? Well, they're playing the last game, so it wouldn't really matter anyway. I wouldn't be able to loop his score. Likewise, Chincotta, because Carlton and St Kilda are playing the second last game of the round. Hopefully Seamus can keep his spot because, yeah, again, I'd love to put the VC on him. The beauty of this is that, like, at least I've got Matt Roberts as sort of that forward midfield swing. If Mitchell goes crazy, I can loop on at Mitchell's score and then maybe put like a Dunkley, Goulden, Rosie, Taranto, Cox, any of these guys into the midfield, and maybe try and sub out, a Mills or a Hewitt, sort of the weaker links in my midfield. But yeah, it is what it is. I think we're kind of at the mercy of the Supercoach guides and everything else as to how players score from week to week now. But yeah, that's pretty much my team. So let's finish it off by going through my VC and C options, and I'll just quickly scroll down here. These are kind of the trends with regards to the trade-in and trade-out options. Of course, for a more comprehensive look at this, Liam and I will go through this in the trade segment this week in our our round 20 review and round 21 preview podcast and vodcast. So look out for that, of course, which always is released on Tuesday evenings. So Ryan Murray, people are trading him out. Seamus Mitchell, Callum Mills, interestingly enough. Sammy Walsh, people are still looking to trade him out, which is a bit silly because he's maybe only out for another week or two, if that. And Chincotta as well, who actually made some cash. So don't know why you'd be wanting to trade him on unless you're desperate for cash. There's a bit of a cashing in the likes of him and maybe a Seamus Mitchell, Ryan Marrick. But yeah, be interesting to see how many trades people have, and probably leads me to my next point. Let us know in the comment section below as to how many trades you have left, and if you're all out, no more trades, no more bets. If you're like myself, yeah, a lot of people here, as you can see here, are trading in these 102k players. Just purely because of the fact that they provide DPP first and foremost, but also because there's a chance that they could play. But yeah, it gives you the most bang for buck trading down to a 102.4k rookie. But if anything, I'll probably, if you don't have any loopholes, try to go for a non-playing player at that price point, just to maximize the amount of cash that you get, but also provides you with a bit of a non-playing player loophole option if need be. So that's kind of the way that looks in terms of movements early, of course, because SuperCoach only just opened coming out of the weekend. So let's go through very, very briefly. And of course, like the trade discussion, Liam and I will go through the best VC and C options game by game for a more comprehensive look at the best options with data, of course, backing it up. So first and foremost, Western Bulldogs up against Richmond. So goes without saying, as I said, English in ripping form, scored that 140 odd against 145 against Richmond back in round 4. And it's just that high floor I think you can kind of bargain on. He's more of a captaincy option just because of that high floor. You can really rely upon him, but playing first up, you can't go much more wrong than that. Bontempelli, he's actually scored pretty well against the Tigs in recent times. 107, 136, and 122. 122, of course, coming back in round 4. And he averages 125.1 against the Tigs in 8 games that he's played. So let's have a look at his extended form line against the Tigs. And he scored 122, 136, 107, 96, 146, 106, 128, 140, and a 142. So his lowest score is 96 in 8 games. So if you've got Bont, I would highly recommend, probably goes without saying anyway, but I highly recommend putting the VC on him if you don't have English. But yeah, it might be more of a flip of the coin here between both of these boys here. Essendon and West Coast, of course, West Coast, don't trust anyone on that side. The Dons, Parish, Zeret, they're a couple of big options, of course. They played them back in round 11. Zeret scored 110. He scored 119, 111, and 110 against West Coast, and averaging a 109.1 historically. And we'll just have a quick squeeze at Parish. He may have scored more from memory. Or was he playing? He might have been injured. No, he was injured. That's right, yeah. So he didn't have a crack at them. But his scoring's been down in recent weeks as well, very unlike Parish. But both of those boys, of course, are really good options given the calibre of opposition. And at Marvel Stadium, the Dons need the percentage to help them get a spot in the 8. So should be a bit of a percentage booster, of course, but they do need a win first and foremost, of course. Adelaide up against Gold Coast. Took Miller maybe, but I think the likes of Rory Laird, who's coming off a 129, and Jordan Dawson coming off that 119 are really good options as well. Laird 95, 114, 112 in recent games against Gold Coast. So yeah, and he's had really good form as well. 117, 151, 129. So don't mind good old Rory. Let's have a quick squeeze at this. Gold Coast, they give up a positive correlation to inside mids. Nothing to really write home about, but nice enough. And then Jordan Dawson as well. Got to throw him in there, scoring a 74, 140, and a 106 in recent games against them, averaging a 117 in the 5 games that he's played. So both of those boys, really good options. Hawthorn up against Collingwood. Now, Nicky Daics, he might be in for a bit of a down game again for the 3rd time in a row, just purely because McGuinness. If Sam Mitchell doesn't play McGuinness on Daics, Mate, yeah, you got rocks in your head. McGuinness is actually one of the more informed taggers in the game. And he can really do a number on Daics, I think. As we can see there, Daics, from what I saw live at the game, and go the Baggers as well, great win, must be said. The fact that he played actually more, from what I saw anyway, more CBAs against Carlton and struggled. There might be a shift back to defence now, but who knows? I mean, sort of lesser calibre of opposition in the Hawks. Do they keep him in there? But yeah, I think McGuinness should go to Daics, so that's fraught with danger there. I wouldn't be confident at all in putting the VC or definitely the C on Daics. Geelong up against Port. Stewart is probably one, but GMHBA, the Cats need to win this well and truly. Apart from the 152, it's one good score out of the past 3 weeks with Stewart. Port, they give up the third least points to defenders, so I wouldn't be rolling with that off the back of that. And tough opposition as well with Port, albeit at GMHBA Stadium. The Giants up against Sydney, I wouldn't be confident in putting it on anyone. Maybe Goulden, potentially. He's really the only one. Cogs, he had a good game in the weekend, but again, wouldn't be keen on that. GWS, I don't really have any positive correlation. Maybe defence, but yeah, that's about it. And yeah, that's kind of it. North up against Melbourne. Now, Gawn speaks for itself. He's on an absolute tear at the moment. So I'm crossing my fingers I don't have him in any of my opponents' sides this week in the first week of finals. 71.8k he went up on the weekend. Holy shit. Insane. Hasn't scored too well against North historically because of Goldstein. He's been pretty restrictive, but with Cherry actually playing more game time than Goldstein, that trend's kind of reversing now. So I'm kind of a little bit worried. Hopefully Goldstein can put a little bit of a dampener on him for those of us that don't have him. But if you do have Gawn, I think that kind of speaks for itself, that form line, 215, 120 and 174. Crazy stuff. And he averages a 110 against North historically, despite those sort of low scores in his past 3 against North. Petrarca, yes, he could potentially. Let's have a look at defence v position. North Melbourne give up, and must be said as well, the second most points to ruckman, opposition rucks. Their last 5, by far and away, the third most to ruck. So inside mids, they actually give up the most by far and away, 16.8. Jeez, that's crazy. Crazy stuff. So maybe Petrarca, and also a general forward and key forwards as well. So that does bode well for those of us with Petrarca. Scoring quite well as well, to his credit, pushing 120 or thereabouts in recent weeks, despite only scoring a handful of goals there in recent weeks. A couple of bags of 4, don't go astray, but of course. But outside of that, moving on to the next game. I was going to say, Goulden as well. Missed him in some pretty good form, bar that one game against Freo. So maybe against GWS, but wouldn't be too keen on that myself. St Kilda and Carlton. There aren't really anyone that I'd be keen on here, I don't think. Carlton, do they give up any points to defenders? They had been. Wing defenders, maybe that's a sinks. But I'd probably bypass that game. And then Freo up against Brisbane. James H, does he go and do a run with roll with a Lockie Neal or a Dunks? Probably Neal, considering he was impacted on the weekend by Miller. So maybe a Dunkley if you're looking for a late captaincy option in pretty good form. He's only scored below the ton once back in round 4 with the 84. Everything else has kind of been over, has been over a ton. And I mean, some of his scoring has been thereabouts, but was really good up until he got injured. But upon return, he's building very, very nicely with that 133 on the weekend. So for me personally, I'm going to go with the C on English. I think I've learned my lesson there. If it wasn't English, it'd be going on Bond. And then I think the C, it's not as clear cut, potentially a Laird or Petrarca. probably go with lead, maybe. I'm not too sure. I'm a bit unsure on the captaincy. Hopefully English can get it done, and I don't have to worry about a captain option this week. But yeah, we'll see how we go. The one tip I'll give to those of you in SuperCoach finals, hopefully you got the double chance, so makes things a little bit easier if you finish in the top 4, or depending on how many people you have in a league and how it's structured. But I think, you can hedge your bets again. You could go with the VC the same as whoever your opponent's got, and then you could put the C on another player that they don't have, that presents a fair bit of upside, like a lead potentially. Yeah. It's kind of hard to say because you don't know. I don't know what your team looks like, and I don't know what your opponent's teams look like, which kind of is a bit of a segue to, if you have any questions, comments, anything else below with regards to strategies, tactics, anything you can use potentially to your advantage in the first week of finals, hit me up in the comments section below, or you can hit up Liam and I on Twitter at @supercoach_edge, and we'll be happy to help you out there. Just give us a little bit of context as to what your team looks like. Slide into our DMs if you prefer that sort of stuff. Nothing untoward, thank you. No pictures of any illicit substance. Yeah, we're always here and happy to help, of course. Well, that's my team as it looks, as it heads into round 21. I'll give you a bit of a quick look at my leagues. So I qualified for the finals in every single league. Content creators, of course, are those other SuperCoach content creators out there. So I have qualified for finals in this league in 4th spot. So I get the double chance up against Selby, of course. Mario is magic. I beat him early in the season, so I'm hoping that I can beat him in the first week. In terms of cash leagues, this is my cash league here. I ended up finishing 2nd, which was handy. Another big cash league there, I ended up finishing 1st. Likewise, cash league here, 2nd. Cash league 6. So not the double chance, unfortunately. Another one here, I finished 2nd. Big footy ended up finishing 1st here in Division 6. And then, of course, for the Patreon cashy, ended up finishing 1st overall. So, yeah, looking pretty good at the moment. Anyway, ladies and gents, as I said, if you've got any comments, questions, let us know in the comment section below. Hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, all that sort of stuff. Hope you had an awesome week. Yeah, the other thing is, if you haven't subscribed, help us get to the 1K subscriber mark. 70 people, that's all we need. 70 people. 70 people. That's all we need. So if you can help us along our way, we'll stop pestering you in every single video. So consider that a reward. But no, we'll also be giving, I didn't mention at the start of the video, but we'll be doing a big giveaway, of course, to celebrate if we can get 70 more subscribers. So hopefully that can happen. And if we don't hit that mark, well, you're not going to find out what it is. You'll probably have to wait until next season. But with that, that's the end of my team talk coming out of round 20, heading into round 21. Hope you all had an awesome weekend and you qualified for finals, and we'll catch you next time. Same place, all the very best. We'll see you then. Cheers.